This is the demo video for NIBC's Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage quoting tools. We'll go ahead and start with Medicare Supplement. So in order to start a new quote, we'll click Run Quote. We will then go ahead and enter all the quote parameters for the person we're running the quote for. So we'll enter our zip code, select the county that the zip code falls in if it falls in multiple counties, select our age, gender, tobacco status, how we'd like to sort the results by, so we'll start by price, meaning least expensive to most expensive. We can also choose AM Best Rating or SP Rating, and then company name would mean alphabetically. So we'll go ahead and leave that at price today. We can then choose our plan type, the effective date of the plan, and we can always move out the effective date. If we'd like to see a future effective date, we would certainly be able to change that. We just click the date we'd like from the drop-down menu, and it will default to today's effective date. The household discount, we can either choose not applied or applied. And then if we would like to get the quote just for a quick quote, we can click Get Quote, or we can always select a client from our drop-down to pull in their quote information, or we can always create a new client so that this quote will be saved in the client manager. So a couple different options. We'll go ahead and hit Get Quote to see our results, and we'll notice that they will be sorted by price, least expensive to most expensive. So we have our least expensive plan here, Continental Life Insurance Company of Brentwood, Tennessee. We see it's $106.29 for the month. We can see the household discount if there is one, the policy fee, the parent company, the AM Best Rating and rate type, plan type, the S&P rating and rating class, and then the years in market and effective date of this plan. So obviously we ran today's effective date as the default, but we can see this plan's effective date is 8/1 of 2020. That just means that this particular plan has the effective date of 8/1 of 2020, but it is still a current rate, and it is still effective as of today's date. On the left-hand side of our screen, we have a few different options. We can expand or contract our quotes. We can apply the discounts, and it will apply the household discount for us. We can click annual rate to see what the annual rate would be. We can remove or add in market analytics, and then we can also choose whether select plans are included in our results. So let's talk about market analytics. We have three different pieces of information here. We have age increases, increase history, and market data. The increase history shows us for the next 4 years what a person currently pays for this plan. So a 66, 67, 68, and 69-year-old and what they currently pay for this plan. And what this does is it gives us a bit of a prediction on how the plan may increase in price as the person ages. So we can see for this Continental Life plan, the next 2 years, a 66 and 67-year-old pay the same amount, $106.29 for this plan, but as they get to be 60 or 69, the price will slightly increase. The increase history shows us the past increases or decreases this policy has taken or this plan has taken and the average of those plans. And then the market data shows us on a national and state level the number of lives that are covered, the premium amount, loss ratio, and market percentage. You can also toggle back and forth between the years. If we ever forget anything about these market analytics, the age increases, increase history, or market data, we can scroll down on the left-hand side of our screen, click About Quote, and this little cheat sheet comes up, which gives us a definition of each of the pieces of information, as well as a source of that data. If we'd like to export these quote results and show everything we have on our screen, we have three different options. We have a print, a PDF, or an Excel export. If we would like to just see a couple of our plans rather than export the entire list, we can click this gray bar and it will turn green. And then we can see it populate up at the top of our screen under Compare Quotes. We can select up to 5 at one time to compare, so I'll select 3 for today's example. And then when I click Compare Quotes, I can see a side-by-side comparison of these 3 plans. So you can see I have all 3 listed here. I have all the company details, the statewide experience, the increase history, and then I can do a PDF or print export of just these 3 plans. So that makes it a little bit more concise for your client. We'll go ahead and remove these from the Compare Quotes, and we'll go back to the dashboard and we'll move into the Medicare Advantage quoting tool. So we have 2 different options for Medicare Advantage. We have the original Medicare Advantage quoting tool, or we have the new Medicare Advantage quoting tool. And we know that it's a new one because it has this green icon here at the top. So that's how we know that this is the new Medicare Advantage tool. We'll go ahead and go into the original Medicare Advantage quoting tool first. So again, we can always select a client from our dropdown, such as Joseph, and it will pull in his zip code and his county. We can always, any changes we make here, so I just removed Harrison County. Now the next time I run the quote, it'll remember that his county is Potawatomi. So it does update as you make changes if you have a client pulled in. For Medicare Advantage, we can choose the plan, so we can do Medicare Advantage. We can also do Medicare Part D or special needs plans. We can choose how to sort the results by, and we can choose to include a low income subsidy level as well. We'll go ahead and hit Get Quote. Again, this is the original Medicare Advantage or PDP quoting tool where we do not add in the prescription drugs or pharmacies. It just shows us an overview of all the plans. So if you're comfortable using the original method, it's certainly still here. You can do an export just the same way as we did for MedSup. That's the same across all tools. We can see our quotes expanded or contracted. We can see the annual rate or market analytics, which is the county penetration or company enrollment. So all the functionality is the same for all the tools, the quoting tools. We can do the compare quotes for any of our plans. If we want to see a smaller grouping of carriers in their plans, we can check those out. We can click show additional details or hide additional details. And on the original Medicare Advantage quoting tool, this is where you can do the fill the gaps. You can actually run a hospital indemnity quote within the Medicare Advantage quoting tool, and then you can actually see how to fill in coverage gaps using a hospital indemnity plan. So if you want to do this fill the gaps feature, you'll also want to use that original Medicare Advantage plan. It will then place the hospital indemnity plan to the right of the Medicare Advantage plan, and you can choose to add in benefits to see how these would fill in coverage gaps. Again, you can always do a PDF or print export of these plans side by side, and same for the fill the gaps. You can always export this hospital indemnity plan with a Medicare Advantage plan. You don't have to do multiple Medicare Advantage plans for the fill the gaps. You can just do one if you would like. We'll click back to get back to our quote results, our full quote results. And then let's now go over the new Medicare Advantage quoting tool and those new features where we can actually add in a client's prescription drugs or pharmacies. So remember, the new one has this green icon. We'll click Run Quote. Now, a couple things to point out. If you're doing a brand new quote, then you'll just certainly enter in all this information. So we'll go ahead and pretend we're doing a new quote for somebody. We'll enter in our zip code, our county, plan, effective year, how we'd like to sort the results by, our low income subsidy. And then for prescription drugs, be sure to select yes. We can choose our fill method. I'll select retail. Then we can add our prescription drugs. So as we start typing any of these drugs, you'll notice that the list populates, which is nice because there's obviously a lot of drugs out there. So let's go ahead and start typing, if I can type properly here. So we'll pick Trulicity. We can choose if the generics are included. We'll select the dosage, the packaging that it comes in, and then our quantity. So it's an injectable, we'll just do one. We'll choose the frequency, and then we'll click Add Drug. So you can add multiple drugs, you can edit the dosage, you can click the X to remove it, and then we'll choose our preferred pharmacies. So it pulls in Google Maps. It will give us a 10-mile search radius from the zip code we entered. We can choose also to change this from 20 or 50 miles. And then we'll choose our pharmacies that we'd like to go with. We'll click Add Pharmacies. Now, if I were to enter my client name at the beginning of this, that's how we save these prescription drugs and pharmacies. So be sure to enter your client's name or select a client from the drop-down in order to have these prescription drugs and pharmacies saved. So now when I would hit Get Quote, if I would enter in a person's name, the next time I run a quote and select their name from the drop-down, it will automatically populate those drugs. So here's our options. It shows our drugs at the top and our pharmacies. We see all of our plans. We see what type of coverage there is, so health and drug, or maybe just health coverage. We show one of our prescription drugs is covered, and two of two pharmacies are covered. It also lists the max out of pocket and our drug and premium. We can click Show Details to see more details about the plan listed here. We still have the county and company enrollment. It shows all the drug tiers. And then if we actually click on the carrier name, we go in here to the plan details. We can see an overview of the plan. We can see the benefits and costs. So it lists all of our benefits and then what those costs are associated with those benefits. we have the prescription drug coverage and costs. So this is the piece you're probably most interested in. This tab actually shows us what brand, or what tier rather, the drug is in. And then it shows for each pharmacy what the retail cost is of this drug, and then what you pay before deductible, after deductible, the in coverage gap, and then after gap. It also shows the estimated drug costs, and then you can see what the cost is for each of the pharmacies. So you can see we have Hy-Vee Pharmacy and Allegiant Creighton Health. It shows that monthly cost and then what coverage phase we are in. It also shows a cumulative cost, so you can see each month what your cost is accumulating to. So all that information is listed here. Very good to be able to see all of this information. We also have the carrier resources button available, and you can actually go to the carrier's website if you'd like to see their website or contact information listed there. So we'll take us back to the quote results page. You do have the option to compare multiple of these quotes side by side. So if you click this green check mark, just make sure that you are clicking plans that have the same coverage. So if you select one plan with health and drug coverage, you'll want to select the next one with health and drug coverage as well. You want to compare plans that have the same coverage type. So then once our plans are populated at the top, we'll go ahead and click compare quotes, and we can see a side-by-side comparison of these plans, and then you can actually compare your drug costs of these plans. So then you can see everything side by side. Again, you can always print and save this option as well. We'll take us back to the full quote result list. Again, this is how you would enter in a client's prescription drugs or pharmacies, and also how you would search and save those by entering a person's name in the client dropdown. Thank you so much for seeing our video on Medicare Supplement and Medicare Advantage quoting, as well as how to search and save the prescription drugs and pharmacies.